Okay, it's 1 o'clock. I call the meeting to order. It's a special meeting of the Board of Sewer Commissioners, January 16th. And I'd like to have a roll call, please.
Bob Scanlon?
Scott Sobey.
Carrie Pastor.
Jim Gibberti,
Sandy Slavin.
we're all here. And we wanted to discuss article for town meeting. And I think, seeing as we have Russ Camp here, I would like to have you just give us a quick overview on what we're
Sure.
going article.
Excellent.
Please.
Scott gonna join us?
No, not
No,
today.
he's got a meeting with the Makepeace people
Oh, okay.
on that project that's going on there.
Sure, so we did have Russ Camp for the record with environmental design and research. We did have at the previous sewer commissioners meeting last week, we talked about this project coming up. Scott and I were able to talk with the town administrator.
Yes.
I got it wrong with Derek afterwards. We went right over and talked to him about the project. And we feel that to fund this project, how it will have to be done is through a rate adjustment with the EDUs and then up to 25% of the retained earnings. Derek mentioned that the general fund is more set aside for townwide projects and he didn't want to go into that, nor did he want to empty out the retained earnings, the maximum amount.
Russ, just for the record, could you just say what the project is you're talking about?
I'm sorry, the Narrows Force Main Replacement Project. It's a project that has 3 phases. Each phase has a cost that's associated with it. I do have some updated costing information. It's gone down slightly to, the numbers we're coming up with were 24.5 million. I think we presented 25.5 possibly at the last meeting. However, we met today again at 11 o'clock with the members from Weston and Sampson with Scott Krahansel to go over this. And the belief is that Scott would like to ask for 26 million total, and
But for this particular
3 phases.
article, we'd be looking at like 20.
With the $6 million that was previously.
We do not have to rescind it. Scott does not, Derek doesn't feel it should be rescinded.
I disagree.
I'll let you discuss that with him.
So, go back, before we get into the funding mechanism, what is the total value you're saying again now?
26 million will be
26.
the whole entire ask.
So that gives a little bit of leeway for unexpected expenses.
A little bit, and it's always a rule of thumb at town meetings or the first time you're presenting these numbers to the public. What you don't want to have happen is that number to go up in the future.
Right.
But nor do you want to build in enough contingency to scare off the project. So we felt that 26 was an appropriate total.
Russ, before you started, we asked you to discuss the project name. You mentioned the funding sources.
Yeah, can you one more time go through what
Yep.
Mr. Sullivan suggested for funding sources?
Yes, through paying for through the EDUs. And what that means is that it's either an adjustment to the EDUs to capture this amount, or if they're, let's see if I can say this correctly here, if the town's debt ceiling through the existing EDUs will allow, if, for example, if the EDUs are creating an overage and we can have some surplus to pay off the monthly payments for this loan, how much will come from the existing EDU amount? So it's a little bit of a financial study to see how much we have to jump these EDUs. I know that will be a question that everyone's going to say, how much are my rates going up and all of this.
Correct.
When we loosely looked at it with Mr. Sullivan after the last commissioners meeting, to fund it completely through EDUs, not including the 25% from retained earnings, it was somewhere in the ballpark of $130 would be an increase to the EDUs.
Per annum?
Per EDU,
Yeah, but
Per year.
per year.
So you're saying 25% now is gonna be coming from the retained earnings?
Correct, like a down payment, if you will, just
no,
to simplify.
okay.
Yep. What I don't know is what is the total of retained earnings.
so, I'm sorry,
You gave us a lot all at once.
I know,
Yeah. Yeah, so
So-
we'll now dissect
I
it.
want to go
Right.
back to,
Yeah.
Let him finish his.
I thought he had finished, because
I am.
he was-
No, we can-
you were-
we can
they were
answer.
asking questions and they never quite, I'm looking at, stop, please don't cross your arms. I'm looking at 26 million,
Mhm.
just to get us to, from the Narrows to the plant,
And then also the work on Minot Road,
plus Minot,
It's all three phases.
all three.
phases.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my question would, so, did you, I'm sorry, Sandy, did you,
No, 3 phases.
all right.
The Sandwich Road,
Mhm.
the reverse Narrows,
Which would be on Minot Road.
Yeah,
on Minot,
Yep.
and I forgot what the third one was.
There's some additional work on Minot Road. Let me just see if I can.
To go to the pump station?
and the reason, just once again to repeat for the record,
Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. And this is a slip.
the reason to move up these secondary phases is to harmonize with the town's plan of doing work on Minot Road anyway.
And we did get a little update from that from Mr.
Okay.
Sullivan as well. We first heard a time frame of 1 to 2 years, and everyone started panicking. Oh, how do we do to get this in?
Yeah.
It may be a little bit longer than that. It's my understanding the intent of that project was to widen the road and then also add in a bike lane that would be a connecting bike lane from like Providence to
Provincetown.
Providence to Provincetown. As part of that process, there are easements and takings that need to be done on Minot Road, and the town was awarded a grant to look at that. I believe that grant may be going back, and there was some debate about how those easements and takings happen on Minot Road for the road widening, which is gonna likely push this longer than 1 to
Okay.
2 years.
So it's not as much of an emergency as it was last week then.
Correct, things change. But why this is a good thing is that if we do the utility work on Minot Road, is that we can perhaps get away with just a trench patch. We don't have, knowing that other work is coming in the future, we may not have to do that full width paving. So as long as we get this, and typically sewers will be the deepest utility, even if it was combined, that's what we'd want to put in first. This way we get it in first, trench patch, and then let the road do what it does
Yep.
after that.
So just back up for my
Sure.
naive at this. The 3 phases were again, the third one was what did you call it? What do we actually call it?
Yeah, so this is a memorandum, we can share this, Scott has this, and we can.
Right.
So phase 1, like we all are familiar with, installation of the new force main and appurtenances in Sandwich Road.
Right.
Phase 2 would potentially include the slip lining of the existing force main in Narrows Road
Yep.
and a redirection of the Indian Neck Pump Station force main to the new force main that we're putting on Sandwich Road.
Okay.
So it's a little manipulation of the flows.
Right.
Sandy?
That would be coming down Indian Neck between Minot and Sandwich.
Redirection of the Indian Neck Pump Station force
So,
main to
like-
the new.
Indian Neck connects Sandwich Road, correct? Goes across Minot and continues down onto the, there's a pump station on Indian Neck.
Yes.
You would have to, and that's where our product comes out of Oak Street and stuff like that, goes into that pump station. You're gonna take something from that pump station and connect it to Sandwich Road.
Yes, because that Indian Neck force main connects to the 18-inch force main on Minot Road, and that's the force main we're
Okay.
abandoning.
So it is the connection between Minot and Sandwich that will be that distance. So you'll be putting something on Minot, Indian Neck to connect it. Okay, so that's number 2, is take care of that pump station on
Right.
Indian Neck. Okay,
And then phase 3, question?
Yeah, it's one. What's the phase 3? Well, yeah, this is what confuses me.
The phase 3 is the redirection of the wastewater flows on Minot Avenue to bring all the properties that are currently connected to the force main on Minot Road, to bring that back by gravity to Indian Neck.
Okay.
And that's phase 3.
It makes so much sense to me to just do them all at the same time. I mean, as much as the contractors can do.
You do get economy of scale. When you have a larger project, you may get more bidders on it, which is a good thing. It may lead to a lower cost. Absolutely, there's a lot of positives. The downside is we have to ask for more at town meeting.
Yeah.
There is, and we can possibly an alternate approach, and you can totally shoot this down, is to have 3 articles for phase 1, 2, and 3, and they're all contingent on each other, but I don't know if that gets too confusing for the townsfolk that,
Do we,
But-
if it's gonna be paid out of the EDUs, does it still have to go to town meeting for an article?
No, we control the EDU rates.
and what about the 25% for retained earnings? Does that require a town meeting?
That's town meeting.
So, potentially the ask might be for the 25% of the retained earnings.
Retained earnings is free cash, is it not?
Yeah.
Yes,
And we don't have free cash we don't have free cash
That hasn't
certified yet.
because I haven't certified yet.
Yes.
When does that
We don't
typically
know.
get certified?
It's only 6 months late. It's only 4 months late. It should have been done for October town meeting. It's
Right.
still not done.
But look, that's 6.5 million, right? 25% of 26 million is 6.5 million.
Well, 25% of what the retained
Retained earnings,
are.
not the project.
Not
not
the
the
overall
project.
project. So we need to know what that sum, and I
Okay.
think we need to get that verified.
Didn't we have an estimate or a guesstimate or a swag on the 3 projects adding up to that 25 or 26 million, the 3 different phases?
Yeah, and this, go ahead.
Can you just tell me what those were?
Oh, yeah, for each one, sure.
Yeah.
So the most up-to-date numbers are, as they're presented, phase 1, 16 million,
Okay, that was it, yep,
phase 2, 3 million,
yep,
phase 3, 5.5 million.
yep.
That should bring us to 24.5, but
Yeah.
the ask will be for
And
26.
Scott was mentioning 26, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, so here's, going back to my original question. So the EDU adjustment, obviously, we're not gonna get $26 million
At one time.
at one time from our 40% of the people who are, out of our $8.5 million budget. So what is the EDU adjustment? And I, maybe Mr. Sullivan's the one to ask, but so is this like a temporary adjustment? Or how much of an adjustment would we need to make? You said you gave a dollar amount.
Roughly 130, and I believe that would be over the duration of the loan, the 20-year period for your, I forget how many total EDUs, the town's 8,000, somewhere around there. So each one of those at $130 adjustment per year over the course of 20 years.
So it's about $11 a month.
And we do want to, I would want a second to vet this all again with Mr. Sullivan when we get this.
No, we're getting the concept of what's going on. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Well,
think of it in.
Yeah, so the big picture, 25% of retained earnings, and then whatever the difference is has to be through an EDU adjustment.
Yeah.
But the EDU we're talking about right now, you just did a calculation, $11 per month per EDU. That is not, that includes the whole 26 million, or the 26 million minus the 25% of retained earnings, which we don't know what the retained earnings are
Right.
yet that are certified.
And I believe when we talked with Mr. Sullivan, we just looked at the entire 25.5 or 26
Which
at
gave you,
130.
which gave you the 130.
So hopefully that
Okay.
130 comes down after we apply the 25% from retained
But from
earnings.
a public relations standpoint, I think I know where you're going, tell me if I'm wrong, that if we blow this out to people at $11 a month or 130 a year, it isn't like a 5 or 7 year project. It's like a 20-year payback. So,
It won't go down, let's put it that way.
correct.
Yeah.
On top of the possibility that other things will be increasing to the EDU expense.
That's right.
On top of this, well, I'll call this, all variable expenses become fixed in the long run, right? So this will become a fixed expense for, i.e. 20 years, and then we're gonna be adding other expenses on as cost of
Yeah,
product.
we have a CWMP that has another 500+ million coming in, and then it's a discussion of do we consider having the whole town
Well,
look at
I was
this to
just
make it
gonna-
more
I was just gonna
equitable?
lead to that, but I don't know if this is the time and place to bring that up.
It's-
I'll leave that aside.
Yeah, we're not getting close to that yet, unfortunately.
Some towns on the
I
Cape
wish
are
you were.
exploring that because the argument is it's water quality and everybody benefits
Correct.
from the water quality of the town. But agreed for a future meeting.
So,
Yeah, because that's gonna be a whole
so
fool there. Yeah. Big time.
And then the other, and this is also for another meeting, but I'll say it anyway. So is now the time to think about, instead of raising everybody's EDU by $130, to lean on the larger properties? So 5, 6 bedrooms.
I was having a discussion the other day, that we should, looking at the EDU rates, maybe we should be considering an increase, or separating residential from commercial and having a separate rate for commercial over residential.
Yeah, that's.
And then see if that's an applicable, a realistic direction to go, what that number amounts to. And then domino off from there on what your dollar amount comes here.
Well, this discussion will be helpful for me when I'm working on this EDU model. So, thinking about a different way of.
There's history behind that.
Yeah,
Yes,
there
there's-
certainly
there's-
is.
How do we get it over to a flow-based system versus, yeah, that's the ultimate end game.
And the other thing, and I hope it comes true, I'm thinking aloud here, that we're talking about 25% of retained earnings now, right? And if the EDU is just a fixed expense of i.e. 130, and that covers that project, all 3 phases, we hope that there's more retained earnings year over year that are in there. They can take another 25% to lower the debt side or the financial burden, right? And then you're saying that goes for 20 years, right?
If the town
Yeah.
seeks either 20, 30,
Right.
whatever the life of the loan is, that's they're taking out. Because we still haven't heard on the SRF, but again, we don't have high hopes for that. We should know within 3 weeks.
What,
So the SRF funding,
SRF,
State Revolving Fund,
okay.
it's a mechanism that a lot of the towns use for these major infrastructure projects. So that's administered by the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust. And every year they have a sum of money, it could be hundreds of millions of dollars, and they put out their, well, the towns submit what's called their project evaluation form. It's basically like a pre-loan application. It's just, here's what we want to do, this is the cost, this is what the
Right.
project is. State looks at that and ranks that. And then they have every applicant, say the
We
200.
just got a relief. We just got relief
On it.
from that organization.
And why that's good is because you can either get a 0, 2, or 3% loan. To get the 0%, you have to meet certain criteria.
That was a $3 million, was it $3 million?
That was based on a $20,000, $20 million.
Wasn't it? Yeah, this was the last meeting, right? Yeah.
So we just.
3.6 million, yeah.
So we go back to this first, just a second, I'm looking at the budget for this year. The revenue and expense summary. Total revenue is projected to be 9.14 million. Now I look at expenses, it's projected for this year to be 5.5 million. So what's the
Yes.
math here? There's $4 million difference. So can this $130 per unit per EDU be absorbed in that difference?
Does that difference go into the retained earnings?
Well, that is
That's
the
your
retained
retained
earnings.
That's what retained earnings.
But then we have I'm not familiar with the public laws, then we have what do you call it, a benchmark or a high level mark that we can take from retained earnings. We're limited to X amount, right? Once they're certified,
Yep.
am I using that term correctly?
Yes.
Right? So
Yeah, because until it's certified, we've got nothing.
But let me just say this, if we were to have 4 million left over, what are we allowed to take from retained earnings once it's certified? Up to a certain amount, don't we have to leave a certain amount in retained earned? This is
There's a
why
certain
we-
amount that needs to be left. in
Correct, that's why we got
retained earnings.
talking.
I don't remember what that
We
number
either
is,
one.
but there's a certain
Year
amount
over
that
year.
has to be left for emergencies.
It's a good question from Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah, that's why we have to have a meeting with him, so we can understand this. I feel like I'm trying to make it, throw dots in a room with no lights on,
But
you know?
keep
And
in
we've
mind,
also- And we've also got money in the retained earnings that's been allocated out already, or come, like the 6 million.
Right,
there is also a reserve fund, which is different.
correct, there's
That's another
4,
bucket.
there's 4 buckets in this department.
That's the problem.
And we need to find out what each bucket, identify each bucket, all right?
Yep.
Who has authority over it, and how do we get our hands on it?
Yep, retained earnings, capital stabilization, reserve fund, and budget line. Is that the 4 you're
Yes,
thinking of?
correct.
Yes.
And
Can you say those
my
ones?
notes I have,
retained earnings,
Yep.
which is free cash. Capital stabilization, which we used last time to pay for the 300,000. Reserve fund, which is used for take care of any expenses that come up at the end of the year, and our capital line in our budget. Aren't you glad you sat next to me?
I'm always glad to sit next to you, Commissioner Slavin. Remember when you saved my life with half a tuna sandwich when I was
Yes.
about going down? I owe you one for that still.
Here is our list of debt payments by year for our existing projects. So we have to consider, I know you have to consider what we have to pay every year for principal and interest that's still outstanding.
Before we add on more debt.
Before we even think
Yeah.
about any more debt, we have to see where we are with the existing projects.
And then at certain years, when projects get paid off, it opens up and
That's
it's.
why I was asking the 20-year plan,
Right.
because this is not only debt on us, it's also kind of adding debt to the EDU person, isn't it?
And we have,
And it's not gonna go away for 20 years.
there's two projects from August 2016 that end in 2026. So we have, well, that's no more than 200,000 worth of debt in principal, so it's not a whole lot of money that's ending. Then we have a lot of stuff that's starting up forever.
So, if we have 40% now of the Wareham is hooked up, are gonna pay the 130. If we were to entice people, or we find a way to add another 40% of the community, it drives down the 130 in each other existing EDU, correct?
And that's what your future CWP is adding these, and it's a
Right.
constantly
Yeah.
dynamic financial model that
So I'm
has to be.
thinking out loud on that, and the other thing I thought out loud is, I just lost that thought on what we do with it. Will we take the 130 over 20 years, and hypothetically, can we go 260 over 10 years? I mean, just a thought.
To weigh it out in the public realm, you know, what's their
Yes.
reaction gonna be to
Yes.
260 versus 130? And the gang from both Steve and John with Weston and Sampson, we talked at 11, they said they're more than happy to come down next week if we want to have a funding, a brainstorming, if we can get Mr. Sullivan in the room and crunch out all these.
Yeah, and it's just tough for me to get a focus on it, because I don't know what buckets of money we get our hands on to help the taxpayer, right?
And more to the point, the sewer taxpayer.
Yes,
Right.
correct, the sewer taxpayer, yes.
I just did a quick calculation.
I apologize, sorry.
Let me actually do another one. Sorry, go, I need to do another calculation here.
We still have checks in the checkbook, is that what you're saying? So,
We're good.
We got plenty of money.
Yeah.
I just re-ordered checks, we got plenty of money.
So we
No
have
problem.
5,419 EDUs at this point.
5,000, right, yep.
Yeah.
Is that, is
Oh,
that?
this is, sorry, this is just
Right.
residential. This
I was
is
gonna say,
residential.
That's just residential, that's not the whole.
This is just residential. And of those, 1,085 are from houses greater than 3 bedrooms. So four to 9 bedrooms. So I'm wondering if there's some progressive way
See what you get there.
of dealing that. And looking at the burden, mean EDU per bedroom, so the 3-bedroom house, it's 0.351 EDUs per bedroom. And for a 8-bedroom house, it's about the same, 0.339. So the people with the bigger houses actually are paying less than the people with, let's say, 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms. So,
How do you go back?
Yeah, that's,
I understand what you're saying, and I
Yeah.
don't disagree with it,
yeah.
but how do you reverse engineer what's already happening and has been happening?
With a
from day one?
spreadsheet, that's how you reverse
Yeah, but
engineer.
I.
But you're- yeah,
how
The
will
big,
it-
the big hangup, I think, through past meetings with the water districts is how do you segregate the irrigation? And there are a few towns on the Cape that have started doing that, putting in separate meters for
I'm
that.
not talking about flow here.
Okay,
I'm just talking about EDUs.
EDUs, right.
facility.
So let's say that if someone has a 4-bedroom house,
Yep.
then maybe you do 1.25 EDUs. And you have 8 bedrooms, maybe you do 1.75 or 2.2
I think
EDUs.
we've already passed that. and we have that in place right now.
For new ones.
Yeah, going
For everything
forward,
going
0.3
forward.
for
For new
each
ones.
additional bedroom over three.
So they're grandfathered in the
That's
older
already
ones.
done, but now you've got now we're talking, what he's talking about
Is
is not what
remapping
we're
it.
doing going forward. It's how we go backwards.
Revamp the whole.
Because
So
that's
someone-
what this is a backwards approach,
Right, so,
not a forward
right,
approach.
so if someone has builds a brand new 5-bedroom house, right now, they're gonna pay 1.6 EDUs.
Yep,
Someone who has a 5-bedroom house, previous existing, they're gonna pay
one,
one.
correct,
That's,
that's what I'm saying.
in the public eye, that's not fair. Right,
Then the
so,
question comes right back, the same question. How do you back it up?
we have to get the records from the assessor's office, and it,
How do you
Yeah,
go
but
back
how do
to
you,
that?
how do you legally go back and say, we know what you were paying all these years, but now you're paying this because we changed how it is?
that's how, I mean, we can do it. We're the sewer commissioners. We can do it. But you might wanna give a year or two notice. You might wanna have a public meeting to discuss it, like before the ADU thing, they had a couple of public meetings where people were invited to come in and discuss those things. I mean, it can be done.
Yeah, we'll certainly have to explore it anyway, look into it and see how it can be done,
If it can't be done.
if it can be done, yeah.
But nothing is retro one way or the other, it's just a new mechanism going forward based on the EDU, how you define it,
That's right.
right?
Yes, going forward, you can't go backwards. Going forward, you're now changing your percentage of your EDU.
We've already done that, though.
Yeah.
No, I'm
No,
talking
yeah.
about ones
I'm thinking a
existing,
lot, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
existing ones.
yeah.
right, exactly.
Now, I don't know how much more money it will raise. It's about a fifth of the residential ones. So, I mean, that's another question. A fifth of the residential EDUs.
You would likely have to adjust the commercial industrial accordingly to make sure you're not losing money if you ever did embark on a
Right.
readjustment. It is a much larger study to look at that, but I think about what, I'm sure with there are other towns that may have been on EDUs that switched to a flow base. You know, the question is, can it be done, can it not be done? I'm sure it can be done, I'm sure it's a very headachy process that's long and drawn out.
Yeah.
But to make it fair and equitable for everybody is, I think, the end game, the ultimate goal.
Yeah, and the fairest way, I think, is with a flow-based system.
Agreed.
And if someone has a lot of irrigation, they can put a exit meter in and do the subtraction. But I know that neither of the water districts want to get involved with,
Oh,
A second meter.
they don't want a second meter.
and I don't blame them.
We've
Yeah.
heard that many
I
times
don't
in
blame them,
meetings.
that's fine.
Well, you could also charge them an EDU rate for agriculture. You could do a hybrid. They wouldn't be charged by flow, because how many agricultural properties do we have? Yeah, I don't know, I don't think it's that many.
But, I
Is that
mean,
like cranberry bogs, you mean, and all that you're talking?
Yeah, anyone who uses irrigation and,
But they tend to have their own meter for that. We're talking about, I have my house, I fill my water gardens. Well, or I wash my car so frequently, but I will be paying
The same,
sewer users for putting water that's not coming back into the system. So that's why a second meter for some situations.
You know,
it
the,
has
the
to
other,
be big enough
Yes.
expense to warrant putting the second
Because most of
meter
the
in.
times you would adjust for those whose water would not be going into the system.
That's right.
There would be a percentage of the water received that would not be included in our calculation for cost.
and then another indirect benefit of going to a flow base, as soon as someone's told that you're paying for every ounce you're doing,
They'll start-
inherently, you'll start seeing water conservation.
That's right.
And that, I would think that would be a good thing for the water department. But as soon as, like, if someone has an EDU, it's unlimited, they flush away, do everything. But if you know now it's based on your flow, you're gonna start, maybe not everybody, but you'll start to see that trend downward.
Yeah, I know that the situation in San Diego, when there was a real heavy water shortage, they said, we'll put a brick in your
oh yeah.
toilet
water
tank. And first of all,
Yeah.
the erosion from the brick was not good for the, secondly, the water company lost so much money because their projections were based on a certain flow rate, and that made such a big difference that they had to raise people's rates anyway.
Hmm.
And I would also say that in Phoenix, where there are so many swimming pools and so much irrigation. Everybody has irrigation in their lawns and gardens and all that kind of stuff. You get one bill. It's from the it's your water and sewer bill that come together because it's based on flow. And maybe there's a fudge factor in there for irrigation and swimming pools and all that. It's just built in. And nobody even notices it, so.
Fortunately, we have to deal with a water district. Now, some towns have a water and sewer department.
Two
Now we
water
have two
districts.
water districts that they're a quasi-government agency on their own, and it's,
And they don't talk to each other, as far as I can tell.
Different countries,
They use different software
language.
for billing. They-
and I remember hearing, and you're right, it's.
I think it could be
my
done.
thoughts.
Yeah.
I think it can be done, but it's gonna be a whole project in itself. But the point is this $130 per EDU, is that the right way to go? Or is it better to make it more progressive?
Well, I think what he's saying is that just based on the back of the napkin numbers, that's what it is.
And that's probably just taking total
That's
EDUs,
not- that's
dividing
not-
it by 20 years and just
Yeah,
throwing that number,
that's
just to
not-
give us a starting point.
That's
It's gonna
not
cost
refining it
$500 a
down
year,
to answer
20
the
bucks.
questions that you're
Right.
bringing up, and,
Yeah.
you know, and I think, yes, it should be right down to that level, but they're not in the position to bring it down to that level. They're just saying that, you know, you've got this kind of a cost, you've got this kind of numbers, and this is what the number comes out at.
Yeah, it's just a rough calculation,
Yeah.
right?
Very rough, yeah.
So, I mean, it's not, this isn't fine-tuned, cast in stone, but it's a direction that we need to look at and see where we're going with it. I don't know.
Well, my question is that this money from this EDU will not be coming in overnight. Would it be something that would be used to offset the debt?
Yes,
So we would be borrowing the 26 million.
correct.
But
Paying it back.
we would use the EDU to pay the interest and principal on
It's
this.
a debt repayment.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all.
duh.
What were you thinking? It was just
And
gonna
as
show
certain
up-
debt goes
Show up
down.
on day one, we're gonna get 26
Well,
million in E
well,
EDU.
that's why I was having a tough time accepting
Get on the
this,
lollipop
because I
again,
never,
will ya? Come on.
I never got the
Exactly.
point. I never heard it would be used to reduce our interest in principal and so
So
To
it's
service the
20
debt, essentially.
Service the debt.
we would be looking, if I take a look at the 6 million that was improved in '22, it would have to be rewritten. We would have to change the purpose of the 6 million, because it can't be used for what's in that article.
What was in the article? I can't remember.
Let me read the article.
This is where we get into, we gotta retract something and rewrite something.
Yeah, we're gonna do that
I think you
today.
have to rewrite this, not ask for no borrowing, but redefine how it would be used.
Yeah.
To pay for the capital improvement project to line a force main sewer line from the Narrows Pump Station to the WPCF, a distance of 1.9 miles. That is what's in the article.
And that's what got approved.
That's what got approved. Now, what I'm thinking is the 6 million, though it's been approved for borrowing, we could define it to say, for capital improvement project to line the to create a force main from the Narrows from the Narrows pump station to
PCF.
the WPCF along Sandwich Road.
Yeah. And the distance is easy to figure out, too.
Force main from the Narrows pump station to WPCF, a distance of 1.9 miles. That is what we borrowed, so you're right.
But I think we're
It
gonna
doesn't
need
say
that
anything
for that.
about using down Minot
I
Ave.
think we're going to need that for the same purpose going forward on phase 3.
That does sound right.
No,
Yes.
No, we did
not
have a,
phase 3.
phase
Yes.
2, I think,
Yeah,
was
phase 2.
talking of the
The other
lining.
one, yeah.
So,
So,
'Cause that's gonna
Narrows pump
probably have to be
station to the
done anyway.
WPCF.
so we are going from the Narrows pump station to WPCF,
correct, down
Yeah.
Sandwich.
okay?
right?
So that's 6 million.
That hasn't changed.
But it does say 1.9 miles in the article.
Yeah,
But it doesn't say approximately.
No, it doesn't. It says approximately 1.9 miles. So if it's 2.1 or 1.7,
Approximately.
it's
approximately.
close enough.
Approximately the same.
so reading that, that's 6 million. To me, if you read this article, it's already a done deal. Do you want to take a copy of that?
But this says reline. It says reline.
But Scott, we're gonna probably have to do that on minor anyway.
No,
To re,
to
phase
pay
two.
the cap, to,
Regardless of what the
it
phase,
says-
we're talking
it
about one
says-
project.
it
Yeah.
says to line the force main, sewer
line.
line. So we're not going to line a force main, we're going to create a brand new force main.
Excuse me, we're probably gonna do both.
But it won't be a force main anymore. When we line it, it won't be a force main.
It will be.
Technically, it will be.
Oh, will it?
So any pipe that is
Yeah.
pressurized
Okay.
is technically a force main. You're forcing water through it. So a water main technically is being forced. I mean, you're getting into the nuance of the word force, but that's
Well,
exactly
okay.
what a force
So
main
this
is.
is really phase three.
Phase two, but I think our phase two
No,
cost.
phase three down, lining, phase two doesn't have a
Yes.
force main
Right.
between the
Right.
Indian Nick pump station and Sandwich Road. This is to realign the force main from along Minot Ave.
Well, this says,
The
narrows
bottom line is, we're looking for X amount of money to do
That
this
pro-
project, whether you do it in one stage, 3 stages, or
Yeah.
26 stages.
So
We're
can't
still
write the
looking
article
for
that way?
that dollar amount of money.
But my,
We've
cons-
got 6 of it already.
Yeah.
but I,
gonna-
if you read that, Derek thinks that article can be used as it is. I don't think it can.
I think it can.
I do too.
what does Rich say?
It's all part of,
I don't know if Rich has even heard it.
It looks okay
Line
to
the-
me. Now
line
that
of-
we've talked about what a force main is and what
Mhm.
a line is.
are we getting so technical we can't resolve our own problem?
Exactly.
I think the wording of this we could very well submit a addendum to this article, better defining how the 6 million will be used. Because I know there will be people in town meeting floor that will say, I can't use this.
Like a person with a funny voice, for example, might be about this tall.
No names
Well, then
mentioned.
you have to account if we don't spend all of that $6 million on that alone, where does the balance of it go and how do we spend it?
But if it's all one project, it
Goes
doesn't
on.
matter, right?
But
Back
I'm-
into the.
I only borrow what I need.
That's the point.
Yeah.
It's one project.
If it's all
Yeah,
one
it's one
project.
project.
For one
That's what
dollar
I'm
amount.
Yeah.
getting
Where?
at.
You want a copy?
Yes, I do. I mean, so the other little thing I'm looking at is our phase two that includes this slip lining is at 3 million, not at 6 million. Even though we may not need to rescind it, does it make it cleaner if we do, and then just put one article for 26
See,
million
this is what I-
associated
Say
with
one
this?
article for 26 million and define the projects.
Rescind
Yeah.
that, take it
So,
back, and then
net-
just have.
Net, we're only asking the town for another 20 million.
Right.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a plus and a minus, and
Yeah, and
Would
we
like
just
to
put
re-
it into a
you
big,
want that copy?
I
big
do.
beautiful
Yes,
bill.
yes, please.
Can the one article include a clause redirecting this?
No, I would recommend not. I would not confuse the town meeting.
Would,
I would not confuse the town meeting. I'll be as clear as possible. Rescind this and then ask for 26. all
so
at
that
the
would
same
come first.
So this would come first to take the 6 million off
Back
of our
out.
borrowing
Yeah.
and ask for 26 and explain to them, as you're presenting it,
Yeah.
it's really a net increase of only 20.
Mhm.
Because you don't want to confuse the body.
Right.
I think
You
it's the
really
cleanest.
don't.
The clean,
Yeah.
even if we don't have to legally, we want to run it by Mr. Sullivan, but I do think it's the cleanest, most understandable. Although the 6 million, that includes aspects of lining, there are certain parts of this that have lining,
Yeah.
but it was a slightly different. We were lining that to keep it pressurized for raw wastewater and addressing the 9 connection, or the multiple connections going in. What we want to line it for now is for potentially reuse it for treated effluent, sending it the other way. So you could not say any of that, nobody would probably ask, but I just think much cleaner and more
It's
transparent
safer.
too.
So we shoot for 26 million
Mhm.
in the article.
Yeah.
Add these 3 paragraphs in as the description of the phases, and that covers everything after you rescind that 6 million one, right? So you call it rescinding it?
Yep. So the first wastewater would be rescinding, the next one would be 26, so -6, then
This is gonna be
26.
like the Patriots game on Sunday with May, when he goes like this,
This
alert,
is
alert, we're
the
changing up the
wording we
play.
used for
Right?
the 36 million.
Okay, yep,
So it would be that type of wording.
yep.
So
If you give me that article, I can write it right now in the new language. Oh, look, one for everybody.
Thank you.
If I had an electronic version of this, it would take me 2 minutes to do it.
Do you have one?
No, I don't.
Oh,
Then
you said if.
what we have is that we have the article. We have the article that was written with the town treasurer and whatever, for the 36 million, that talks about borrowing issues, whatever, anyway. So here's a whole bunch of words that we could use, instead of using 36 million, put in 26. But this is, it is not an easy article to write to ask for borrowing, is what I'm saying, bottom line.
This one does reference the Clean Water Trust, the
Yes.
SRF, so all that would have to
Yeah, I mean,
potentially come out.
it is,
But at the end of the day, it's.
but if you notice what Russ gave us last time, the request for the 26 million in his handout was no more than 3 lines, or 4
Right.
lines.
That's when you got in,
And which is, when that was submitted, and this is what we got back.
And
This
we-
is what, yeah,
And we do have example, both Steve and John at Weston sent me several articles that are
Mhm.
much more expanded from other towns
Yep.
that include all that, and I do have Word documents of that. And if we do have another follow-up meeting fairly soon to crunch all these numbers, we can certainly, you know, maybe we get the article written before, but we can certainly at that meeting. And we'll send out some example in Word.
What's the deadline for the article?
I believe it's early February.
And Derek mentioned something about special town meeting too?
That's-
that has a slightly-
Special spring and spring are all at the same time.
At the same-
The
And
articles,
April
for
28th.
the articles for special spring tend to be a little bit more time sensitive. You have more time to do a special spring article than you do for a spring article, but
Right.
they're all,
Same day, same.
it's the same meeting, the
Yep.
fourth Monday in
Yep.
April?
Yes.
Fourth meeting in April. But FY '27 articles tend to be early February. Special spring tend to be late February.
Let's shoot for early
Historically.
February and try to get it on the regular town.
I
meeting.
would regularly get it in town meeting focusing for FY '27 as opposed to special spring, which would be for '26 expenses.
Okay, then this, just for FYI, then I'm gonna make this as the meeting, our next meeting.
I'm almost done.
Yeah, I mean, but.
But- Knowing what I've seen in town meeting, and I'm Jimmy, you can say the same thing, that simpler is best possible.
Absolutely,
yeah,
I'm not gonna say kiss, but that's what it
it
is.
is, it's a kiss rule.
you're right,
It is.
absolutely
your-
right.
Your next commissioner's Thursday, 22nd?
Next
Yeah.
Thursday,
This
yeah.
Thursday.
It is?
So along with
paid for that
what
one
to
too?
do with this 26 million, the 6 million, I think we also have to talk about asking for money to replenish some of the funds we used for the pump station. I think we should,
Go back and make that statement again.
we didn't have free cash to pay for the $30,000 for the
That,
pump station renovation.
right,
Okay, and we used money, I believe it came out of our capital stabilization.
Probably, yeah.
So what it is that we should be taking our retained earnings
it
and
back in
putting
there.
it back
we
in.
had that, but this is what we're trying to, well,
It's one more article that should be considered for spring town meeting.
but you say that as if we all understand the rules and regulations of how we do this from one bucket to the next bucket, and I don't. And I'd like to know that before we do it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
I mean, I know what you're saying.
but I don't know how to get you up to speed, so we make our deadline.
Are you up to speed on it, on all the buckets and how they work and where we get the
I
money from?
have
You have
eight,
the same notes that I have from that meeting, one meeting we went to. am I right? Yes, you may have a
Yep.
little bit more knowledgeable because of your experience in the town, but I don't think the rest of us understand all that.
So my notes said I have a capital stabilization account, which is about 400K. We've never added to it. We use that, we should target Springtown meeting to increase it from retained earnings
So take some out of the retained earnings bucket and
and
put it,
add it back to a capitalization to allow it to be used if we need it and don't have free cash been certified.
but can we do that at any time?
Town meeting,
Okay. Town meeting only is what you're saying?
yes. But once it's in, yeah, but then we can't spend it out of capital until town meeting. Town meeting to replenish it, town meeting to spend it.
So my first thought is, until I really understand all this, I don't want to put anything in any bucket where I can't get at it. I'm just saying that.
I understand that. You put any of these buckets, you can't get at it without town meeting.
Retained earnings,
Cannot get retained
cash
earnings,
reserves.
cash reserves, not town meeting.
Which one can we get at in our own budget?
Only what goes into the capital line of the budget. And what was,
Then I would beef up the capital line of the budget.
I think the budget's already been submitted, hasn't it?
I don't know, I mean,
We've got up to-
that's what we're trying to find out.
And that would be if we do have
Petty
a,
cash.
Yeah, this is,
so I'm curious, you know, like the event of emergency or something happens. There has,
I
there,
know what the private world does, I don't
Capital,
understand this world.
capital budget for FY '27 is $766,000. That's in this budget.
766.
In what
Seven.
budget? The current budget?
FY, I saw that, this is
Yeah,
FY '26.
26.
Where's my 27? I thought we had 27.
I don't have a 27
Well,
budget
I
yet.
have 27.
What's the date of spring meeting?
You have a 20,
April 28th.
28th. I think I'll be in Athens. 28th of
Georgia? Should be warmed up there.
they have Wi-Fi, we can remote you.
Or Istanbul.
That's the budget we were given without
Right now,
any
you're in the
detail.
Athens of America.
when was
Right
this
now.
given to us?
Cultural hub of-
Month and a half
United
ago, early
States.
December, I asked we put it on the budget, on the agenda,
I think
and
it was a meeting I missed.
no, it wouldn't. Scott asked us not to put it on the agenda.
It was a handout?
It came email wise.
Lou Abbott and Bud Costello are unavailable for comment.
Yes.
But no detail, just this summary.
If we do meet at the next commissioners' meeting to crunch these numbers, we would want to have the detailed information for these 4 buckets and understanding of it, and also Mr. Sullivan to help us confirm. Again, everything we talked, I mean, it was back of the envelope, I'm not speaking on behalf of Mr. Sullivan. But in the absence of a town finance director, or Mr. Sullivan's doing double duty, is we really should have him in the room
Yep.
to talk about this with Scott
Agreed.
and all the budgets.
What do you think the chances are, Jim?
Gotta find out.
I don't know.
So.
Okay.
Now, part of understanding is, she closed out a bunch of articles in FY '25. So we're spending a lot of money on principal and interest. And I know I sent out this, I made copies a while ago. You may have forgotten having to receive it from me, but this is our, if you take a look, I'll share this, take a look at this. Our debt for sewer is not colored. Does that put sense? So you see everything that's not colored is a sewer debt. So there's the debt, and then how it passes out year after year. There's your summary.
So it looks like for 27,
It looks like we have almost $3 million in principal and interest for a long time.
And then it eventually starts to go down over time, but who knows what other projects are gonna work their way into this.
Yeah, so,
And that's the whole
See-
town, that's schools and everything.
so at the bottom line here, you'll see color coded.
Yeah,
What's white is sewer.
right.
And I think it's about $3 million a year, principal and interest.
Sewer, I've got, is that 4.75?
That's for the town. That's
Sewer,
all of them.
sewer's got 390, and sewer principal 1.8, so you got 2.2, 2.4, right? In debt and
Interest and the principal, yep.
Right. Without understanding, now, I don't know how we work mechanically for public accounting laws in respect to what is our debt to equity, what is our cash balance to debt, you know?
That's above my grade.
Well, I understand, but, I mean, but we have to find that out from those cash buckets, how much more debt down the road we could actually request if we're not gonna maintain certain cash reserves.
And if I understand
If
correctly,
we have to, you know?
these,
That make, you know, right? In my world of covenants, in the finance world, you have to maintain cash balances with X amount of debt, right?
so these two, for example, in year 2026, 1.8 and 400,000, 2.2,
Yeah.
that would be paid for out of the retained earnings typically, which is like the 9 million?
Are you saying that or asking?
I'm asking the question.
I don't know, so we don't know how it functions.
Right, because if,
No, normally retained earnings is not paid, we do not pay debt with retained earnings.
Okay.
No, but the interest expenses and a budget, it should be a budget line item.
That's part of Scott to give us a budget line item.
Correct, and
Yes.
and what's left over between the expenses and what's budgeted in the world that they've taught me is the retained earnings, Russ.
okay.
So if they just, Scott mentioned 8 million and we only spend 5, I believe it's a 3 million retained earnings.
Right.
Which then has to be
Certified
certified, which
free.
goes back into a budget. But in that 5 million in expenses out of the 8 million, I believe that interest portion is part of the current interest expense in that budget.
Yes,
So, okay? Not coming out.
but I have never known free cash to pay debt.
Oh, no, I'm
No,
not saying
okay.
that. I'm just trying to get my hands on all the budget stuff. The cash stuff first.
Thought the engineering was difficult, wait.
Yeah, so,
Well, that's because.
Hey, you know, the problem with this is you get one pile of money and you get 17 names for it. Now, what you gonna do with it?
Standardization on what we call it, yeah.
Well, I think it's all public accounting.
It's-
Do you ever notice when someone uses a number, picks a number out of the air to illustrate a point, it's always a prime number?
I'm not Sheldon.
17, right?
$3,162,412.16. Is that a prime?
No, it's not, because it's an even number.
And if it adds to 9, it's divisible by 9.
So I've written both
That is-
articles.
I remember that one.
Article,
You weren't listening to this, you were busy writing articles.
so we're done, we can check this off.
I know, geez, yeah.
Article N, line force main from Narrows. I move that the spring town meeting rescind Article 19, line force main from Narrows to WPCF to borrow the sum of $6 million for a capital improvement project to line the force main sewer from the Narrows pump station WPC, approved unanimously by the fall town meeting on October 24th, 2022. That's
You
one
wouldn't put
article.
all that in the article. You would just say rescind. You can put that information in the just
Explanation.
explanation.
Okay. Anyway, there it is.
Yeah, but, okay,
Nice. Okay.
it just, I'm rescinding it.
Yep.
Yep.
And then the other one is Article X, I call it, because we don't know what the number
Yep.
would be. I move that the town appropriate the sum of $26 million in text, to pay for the capital improvement project to construct a force main sewer line from the Narrows pump station to the WPCF, a distance of approximately 2 miles, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, and that to meet this appropriation, the town treasurer, with the approval of the select board, not the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to GLC 44 blah blah blah, or any portion of the borrowing authority by this vote may be obtained through the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust established pursuant to GLC 29C, in case that's an option. It's just basically this, but
Resident number one at the microphone has said, how much more am I gonna pay? And and I'm not saying we need to put that in the article,
Yeah.
but we'll have to have that in the backup, or if,
well, when you're presenting this, Russ.
Flak jacket.
I mean, obviously, the first thing is to say that for engineering purposes, we can't just realign the Minot Road thing. And here are the other reasons why we need to move it to,
We need the new one.
we need the new one, we needed to go down, and, for meeting the standards for adding additional accounts along Sandwich Road and north of that
Mhm.
area and so on. Right, so, I mean, all this can be laid out.
and yeah, I was thinking about that too, I'm assuming that we'll be asked to do a brief presentation, and the big thought is that you have a force main that's approaching 50 years old, made out of cement-lined ductile iron pipe. Similar force mains of that material and that age within the town of Wareham and within our neighboring towns are breaking. Out of your entire inventory of pipes, this singular pipe carries all the flow, and we show a figure of West Wareham and highlight all the big facilities. If this pipe breaks, this whole half a town shuts down when there's a sewer break.
On one pipe break, right?
It's your most important pipe in your, now, you could have a pipe break that's fairly minimal, and if you're lucky, you can go out and band it and patch it, but what happens with this deteriorated pipe, when it breaks, when you go to
You
try,
touch it and it breaks more.
it breaks when you start chasing and chasing and chasing, and then ultimately you say, we just need to replace this whole thing, we're gonna find these spots all throughout it.
Thus, also in that explanation, should also indicate the location of that particular pipe. Not will it only shut down the town, but it will create an environmental hazard that was substantial.
Depending on where the break, exactly.
Remind them of Plymouth.
And the
Exactly.
reason why we're going up Sandwich Road is, unfortunately, between your biggest pump station and the plant is the Agawam River and train tracks. Where the existing pipelines are placed now, were put in a long time ago. They're underneath the river, underneath the train tracks. To reduplicate that construction,
Wouldn't happen.
it can happen. It's major.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying Sandwich Road is not going to be major construction, but the river crossing
Yeah.
is dramatically shallower and in a more amenable place for directional drilling. Whereas if you look at, let's draw this real quick, if this is Minot Road.
I thought you were gonna suggest raising the river to make it
You
easier
just
to
have to go
water.
before the
That's a smart-
conservation
that's
committee.
an idea.
Absolutely.
Oh, shoot, we ain't getting nothing done.
If the force main breaks, then we'll be naming a new.
He's
guy.
more of a hard ass than I am.
I find it hard to.
Oh, yeah.
So where your force mains, if this is Minot Road and you're looking at it, then you have some homes here. Then it drops in elevation fairly significantly to where you have the train tracks. There's another drop in elevation. This is the Agawam River. Your current pipes are underneath the road coming right at us, but they take a 90-degree bend down and do something like this when these were put in 50 years ago, probably by directional
Where's
drill.
Narrows here?
So Narrows is
Yeah.
this is right where the two force
oh,
mains
okay.
go underneath
Yep.
Minot Road. They pretty much kind of in front of the school. The two
Yeah.
force mains come this way in
Yeah.
Minot Road. They do a 90-degree.
Yep.
There's a spacing between a few of the homes there. That's the easement where these go through down. So it goes down in elevation underneath the train tracks, which are lower, and
Right.
they keep going under the river. This was likely directional drilled 50 years ago. Today, with the railroads, they don't allow directional drilling. They have to do what's called boring and jacking, meaning you need to dig a pit this steep and stabilize it and dewater the entire time and push your pipeline through
Okay,
straight across.
What do you call this engineering
Boring
methodology?
and, this is boring and
And
jacking.
the other one was, what do you call it?
Directional drilling.
Directional is just woo. roll-
Yep,
They
they
can make
use,
it go where it wants to go,
Where you
right
want.
where you wanna go.
yep, you can control it, and you do have to do a few things up front to evaluate, make sure
Yeah.
you don't.
It's like a colonoscopy.
I was just gonna say, all right.
So, by going up,
In more ways than two.
because the train tracks near the Narrows Restaurant where we're doing the crossing, we don't have these dramatic grade changing there. Your boring and jacking pit is only gonna have to be dramatically less in depth. We get it across the train tracks, we go up Sandwich Road, we have the other bridge with the Agawam River.
Yeah.
But that is much more, because it's just the river and not the train tracks, we can directional drill underneath that.
Oh. okay.
So the complexities of running new force mains down, and that was my other concern, like going way back with this, and this is why the alternate, now, Sandwich Road is a low-lying road, you're probably gonna have groundwater 3 or 4 feet down, and we'll have to manage that, but the force main itself is only about 5 feet of cover. There's already a water main up that road. It's the lesser of two evils. It's not a perfect world scenario, but it's a lot easier than navigating this crossing. And then you think about the long-term future, like this pipeline, if this ever starts leaking underneath the river, happened in a pipeline on the Providence River where the Bristol County Water Authority gets all the water from East Providence
Yeah.
underneath the Providence. That pipeline broke at the bottom of the Providence River. The water came back up the casing. One side was a Superfund site that pushed it backwards and pulled all that pollutant. The other side was on a golf course, and that was their only source of water. So they're looking for a major redundant. So this is when you put all your reliance on an antiquated pipe that's underneath railroad train tracks. We want to somehow get away from this. Now the beauty is, if we can go over to Sandwich Road, we will still have this open conduit, and that's potentially what we could reline. And if we want to use it for treated effluent, there's still a chance it can break, but treated effluent is way less of an environmental catastrophe than raw wastewater.
If it breaks, right?
If it breaks. So this is a consideration why we want to come back up and line this and send it back. And then there's two of these. We have that, this is just, looking at it in profile, but the depot force main is also doing the exact same thing. It's a pipeline of similar age and material, almost 2 miles with some elevation changes. And where you run into the issue is when that force main starts going downhill and it creates air pockets, because now that's air with the hydrogen sulfide that in the air pockets is what eats away that cement lining inside the pipe. So if we could do it all over again, that's why a lot of the force, they're all going to PVC based, because it's corrosion resistant and done with that. So it's an extremely challenging, if the lining didn't work, the original concept with this was to do an open cut and figure this all out. But then when we started looking at Sandwich Road, so that this is way less costly to deal with this, even though it's a challenging intersection.
Yeah, so how to explain that to the public in 5 minutes?
Probably you got about 2.5 minutes before eyes start glazing over. So you don't even go into this sort of stuff. We just talk about the age, the condition, how it's the priority, the single most important pipe in your whole inventory. And
I think it's the cause and effect. If this thing goes, here's what's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
And I
And
think it's worthwhile, I'm sorry, Bob.
on the upside, on the positive side, it shows that if we go this route for the 26 million, we have a potential huge savings in a new outfall that'll take care of the town of Wareham.
if that works out, yeah.
And running the force main up the front door here opens up areas that have not been sewered because of cost. Now we'll be cost effectively able to become customers
Yep.
of the sewer
And
plant.
We're gonna bring the other fourth right through Santos, come up there, that will open up all those areas that we need to come in from that way to tie it in, same trench, and it's a strategic placement of infrastructure.
Can we say that, is it my understanding, so if we add more and more people into the 130 can go backwards, can it? Decline? The 130 can get reduced, correct?
If your base number goes up.
Yes.
Strictly on numbers, if you use that base,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
you'll have
hypothetically
more,
speaking.
you'll have more
We have
reviews.
more people in it,
Yeah.
more EDUs in it, paying for it, and we've already have a debt structure there, then the price can go down as we add new people.
We also, the cost savings,
Like
sorry,
do
of cost savings of,
Yeah.
the CWMP, because now potentially down the road, if we have a new outfall, the Agawam River is freed up from any nitrogen. And on top of that, when you do sewer more communities, further nitrogen gets taken out, so it's like
These
a
two.
win-win-win.
Right.
Yep.
So along with the negatives, of which there are plenty, and big ticket negatives, there are also big ticket positives to doing this whole
It's almost to
project.
the point where
I mean, what are the,
we're forced to do this.
what
Oh,
are the,
yeah.
We are.
A little bit,
I mean,
yeah,
I
with
mean,
this is, it's the cost of owning infrastructure in a first.
Right. Oh,
you know,
yes.
it's the-
mean, one of the costs that, the town people, not just the sewer users, but the rest of the town needs to be aware of, is that if this job doesn't get done the way we're talking about, and we don't get the outflow the way we're expecting, and that pipe lets go, it's not gonna be just the sewer department that's paying for that cleanup.
And that's called the cost of doing nothing. And that's
That's right.
another
Yeah.
strategy at town meetings, to present the
Mhm.
cost of doing nothing.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
Oh,
where
yeah.
the cost comes in, because now the whole town, like Plymouth,
On the hook.
is on the hook for this.
I think those are good examples too.
Would it make
Okay.
sense to talk about sewering these two A1 areas, not at the same time, but as the new phase two? So present the $26 million as phase one, and sewering these two regions as phase two.
But you're gonna have more money to sewer those regions.
Yeah, we're not ready to do it yet.
That will come into, some probably, if it's not in your CWMP, some of the immediate next steps are your phasing plan for the which areas get done first, basically.
Well, A1 definitely gets done
And-
first.
Yep, and just given where they are right here, we're gonna put the force main connection, all this is gonna come down in here into the plant, and we're gonna have all this work done. I think the plant is like right here,
Yep.
maybe?
He wrote
Doing
on my
this
map.
project,
What's that?
He wrote on my map.
Oh,
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay, he'll sign it.
It'll really be
Doing-
worthless.
Doing this
Initial,
$26
please.
million project now as Force Main allows us to do that, because if we don't
Yep.
do one, we can't do the other.
And maybe that's part of the presentation, is that allows us to sewer these two areas, thus reducing the per,
EDU cost.
Yep.
yeah.
And the other thing to think about too is that your plant is technically designed for 2 million gallons a day, but your discharge permit is 1.56, which is kind of unique. A lot of times the permit in the plant is the same. So if the plant can physically take another 400,000, that says, okay, we got a green light to add these additional properties in, hopefully with just the modifications that are done to date.
And we can also bring an outside product and run it through in order to receive more revenue, correct?
And if I live
Potentially.
there, why should I approve this if I'm gonna have to pay more money?
Because you're going to pay more money if we don't
Because
do
if we
it.
don't
Yeah.
approve it,
Yeah.
you will have to pay more.
Cost
It's
of
not a
doing
question of
If.
it is now a question of when.
And that survey that was done more than 5 years ago said that its lifetime was
Done.
0 to
Well, I
5, and
believe
we're
the-
past 5 years.
The exact wording was to initiate the I went back and rewrote it a few times because I wanted to get clarity on it. I have to read it again. Obviously, I forgot. But it basically said you need to start going on it now. And we're approaching, I don't want to speak for the firm that did that, but if I were to give a report that said 0 to 5 years, anytime a life expectancy starts with a 0, it's basically the engineer saying, we see damage, it could be any time, but we're going to put this
Yeah.
to CYA because we see deterioration, we see other mains breaking.
This is the old commercial, you can pay me now, pay me later, isn't it?
That's right.
Or pay me a lot more.
It's
later.
always more cost effective to be proactive than reactive,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
get it, you can't proactively sewer the entire town tomorrow, but given the criticality of this main,
And really, nothing's been done in 50 years.
with the way force mains are designed, at the high points, they have what's called air release manholes,
Mhm.
and there's different mechanisms, and at the low points, you have what's called cleanouts, where you can launch a cleaning device to clean it. And they have things called automatic air release manholes. Even though they're automatic, there is still maintenance. You have to check these monthly, so on and so forth. From my understanding, the existing air release manholes in towns have not been operated for quite some time. And what happens when you try to turn a valve that hasn't been operated for 20 years?
Falls
As
apart.
soon as you turn it, it breaks apart.
Right.
Just-
So you got to exercise them at least once a year.
Once
right?
a year.
Yeah.
And that will be new protocol with this, whatever's put in. Now granted, it's PVC, it doesn't have as much corrosion. And that's the other concern, that these air release valves have never been, and we're at a point we physically can't because we risk breaking them, and then in order to replace it, you have to shut the pump station down.
Right.
We had 4 pumper trucks at Lopes Field. When we put the bypass in, we had to shut it down, and we still had flow creeping up in the wet well.
You have to do it during the first half of the Super Bowl. If you wait till halftime,
You're done. That's when the peaking factor of 25 comes along.
Yeah.
I do apologize. I have to get going fairly
Appreciate it.
fairly soon.
Yeah.
I'll plan on coming back next Thursday, and
Okay.
yeah.
I'll talk with Scott in the interim to have
6:30.
6:30.
I still think it's a good idea to schedule a public meeting.
Well, let's,
To
wait,
discuss-
let's,
I mean, we have
let's
to-
get this understood first.
Yeah,
I get it, but
Do it with all
I agree with you.
but between now and town meeting though, we need to
Yes.
have at least one public meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's know what we
Oh,
have
yeah,
a public
the-
meeting for.
So Sandy, the town has enjoyed doing nothing for 50 years. You know, it's like having a house that's
Good point.
50 years old. You need a new furnace. You were told 10 years ago it had a 0 to 5
Yeah.
year life left in it. And you say, why should I spend the money? Well, guess what? It's gonna crap out. You're gonna be without heat. You have to do it, period.
It's gonna
Or
crap
sell the
out-
house and
it's
let the
gonna
next
crap out
owner
on a Saturday
do the
night.
thing and put in the new
Yeah,
furnace.
it'll
But
be
it
on the
needs to be
weekend when you
done.
have to pay 3 times for the plumber to come out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just went with my father.
I'll see everybody next Thursday.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks,
Russ.
Russ.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russ.
I got my MBA in engineering today, I'll tell you.
Oh,
Guy's good.
wait till next year.
I mean,
It's you're in continuing education here. There's many degrees to be had.
Okay,
All right, let's move
for
for it.
these articles then, I'm gonna postpone it to,
well, I've written it. I've written it.
Yeah,
All we have to do is, what? Now, the written, what do we need to do? Send them to Rich? No?
Nope.
To?
They go to select board and Derek.
the
Okay.
date is,
But
so, you get,
I wouldn't submit them yet until
No,
we,
we've
you
got
know,
three articles.
we got the rescinding of the 6th,
The rescinding of the 6,
the creation of the 26th,
Yeah. And
and
what's the
add
third
the
one?
capital
And-
stabilization.
add to the capitalization.
Oh, that one I don't have.
No. And
But I think-
And something else to consider. If free cash is certified, the question has to be asked, is there anything in our capital plan that should be included using the free cash once certified?
yes.
We can't, if we have it free cash, what can we do with it?
So like replacing more pumps, so those
That's-
airlift pumps or
You got
whatever.
it. Or any other equipment that might want to be had. So if free cash is available, we should be asking, where the hell did I put that?
Yeah. So Scott should have a list of all the, priority list of all these capital
He
things.
does, he already has it. So if I take a look at, where in the world did I put it?
That other article about refunding, do we have to have that now? Is that a mandatory necessity?
No.
Till we understand what that all means? Can we wait till the next town meeting if it's a town? I mean, what's
Yeah,
that?
well, you definitely can, yes.
Am I saying that right?
You know, I understand where you're coming from.
But if we don't,
But what happens?
But I just sent Derek a note to see if we can make our next meeting,
All right.
first of all.
And you're saying if we don't, Sandy, we're not gonna get a wrist slap and nothing's gonna
if we
happen?
don't, then we don't have it available should we need it.
But it looks like right now, we haven't seen the budget. Do we really need it? I'm afraid of locking it up where we can't get at it, all right? And not knowing if we really have to do it versus if we do need it down the road. I want Derek to explain that to me.
And it all hinges on it being certified, which it hasn't been yet.
No.
That's right, it has been certified.
Yeah.
That's the retained earnings side.
Okay.
Why do we have dewatering system for 500,000 on the capital plan?
So that's to, for the technical reasons?
It's on the capital plan for 500,000 for dewatering, and I'm trying to remember what it was for. Does anybody?
Yeah, so there's a space, they dewater to a certain extent on the one machine that, it's like a conveyor belt that
Bank
brings.
press, yeah.
But this, he had originally targeted a used dewatering system that was gonna be 500,000, but he found one that was, I think, new, but it was a different technology. He's got the space already for it to go. And so what that does is it reduces the weight of the waste, which we were
Oh,
trucking.
I got it.
Which we were trucking and paying for all that trucking. Now he's putting it back here.
So maybe not, it's not needed this, okay.
Well,
And it was,
That could well not be needed, I mean, he's looking for a centrifuge
that's the centrifuge type rather than the
Yeah.
belt
Mm.
type.
which would reduce it down.
But it would, I
And
think, it
based
would-
on what he's doing out there right now, you know, with, if you use the centrifuge, that would, you know, drop down the moisture content obviously and make drying out and curing all of that stuff probably a little
Quicker.
quicker than,
be a lot faster.
What's the difference between the two?
and right now,
Spinning
we're
and-
gonna put up the sign, you know,
The
Mount.
belt press takes out less water than the centrifuge does.
Yeah, but how's the centrifuge work, is what I'm
It's
asking.
continuous flow centrifuge. So it flows in and it flows out, and it removes the water in between.
It spins and
Yes.
draws the water
All
out.
right.
I don't like
It's
going
like a
around and
salad
round about.
dryer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Like going around and round.
yes.
Yep.
Someone gets stuck,
Versus,
doesn't it?
okay.
Then there's 400,000 for a SCADA replacement,
SCADA.
SCADA replacement,
That's the-
400,000.
That's all the electronics that ties one building and one operation into the next and automates
So there
certain things that
are
have to
some
happen.
things in capital,
SCADA's very expensive.
he has 400,000.
Well, it'd be worth talking to him about that.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Just pop down
if,
and,
if in fact free cash is available, we should, as soon as possible, get an article in to put the money aside to be used when it can be, as opposed to waiting 6 more months before you can use it.
Okay, well, when you use the term free cash,
Certified earnings, sorry, retained earnings. It's retained earnings in sewer and free cash to the rest of the town, retained earnings.
but once it's been certified to us, this group, all right, by the state, and there's $1 million in that retainer, what are the policies and procedures we have to follow in order to spend that money?
Get it passed through town meeting to spend the money. Must be approved by town meeting.
I, see that, I don't, I just don't understand it, then,
It's not free. It's,
well, then you can't, okay,
retained earnings,
it's ours.
It's
Well,
ours.
Bottom line is
You-
retained earnings is net profit of our operations.
Off the budget.
Okay, that's it.
The
That's-
difference.
It's net profit, bottom
It
line.
is.
Okay, I
But
don't
you-
care what other name you
Absolutely,
slap to it, that's all it
it took
is.
me 2
But you
meetings
must-
to
yeah,
realize
you
that.
must
I-
have
But then
town
you have to
meeting.
have, then you have to have a faceless entity allow you to spend it.
That's what I'm,
That's-
that's, okay, I don't understand
That's
that.
what-
town meeting controls how that free cash to retained earnings are spent.
Your net profit isn't a viable entity to us until this faceless group says we can do it.
Well, it makes sense that it's, you know, this is a citizen-run town, and it makes sense to have another line of oversight, so it's not just 5 people making a decision about these large amounts of funds. So it makes sense from a public control perspective, to me it does.
Well, I don't disagree with that,
Public, yeah, I see
I
what you're
just
saying.
disagree with the
Business-wise, I don't.
cumbersome way you have to go about it and the time lags
Yes,
that
Right.
exist between everything that occurs down here and not through our inaction or our fault.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
right,
That's the irritating,
But
correct.
that's always gonna be a balance though, right? Between
That's
these
not a
two
balance.
forces.
That's not a balance, that's a
that's
one-way
not a
scale
balance.
on that side. So, that being said, once you just said for retained earnings, I once again would like to say that I would like to hear how we, on the other 3 buckets, get to use those funds. When and how do we get to use them? That's all I want from Derek. I mean,
Or our accountant,
well,
From somebody.
it's from somebody.
somebody,
yeah.
yes.
That's
But
all right.
the budget, when the town approves the budget, it approves the component of capital line item.
Right,
So the town has already approved that money to be used for capital.
correct.
Therefore, Scott can use it at any time, once the budget is approved.
Right. By the town,
Yes.
once again, the town.
So, is this, when I read the handbook for town volunteers, remember when you become under a commission or board, you get a handbook.
Mhm.
And I was just on the Conservation Commission at the time, so I didn't pay attention to this part of it. Is the process for this outlined in there, do you remember, in that handbook? It may already be written out in detail, but I don't remember. If it was, I skipped over that because it wasn't relevant at that
Yeah.
time.
It probably nothing to do with the committees.
No, it has nothing. If you wanna understand I think if you get into like the basic understanding of what our authority is with respect to those things,
Yeah.
Judy, who sent me I thought I forwarded to you, the video, and the text, tutorial on the prudential and all that stuff and government, and public spending, all right, it lays it out there. It's pretty good. As an elementary, to understand it, I was absolutely floored with some of the things I heard. So it's real in the public sector, in this public sector.
Yeah.
There is one thing commissioners can approve. It's the spending of, I'm trying to find it, we did it early, did it at the end of FY '26. They needed money transferred to cover late expense.
That expense we had.
Yes, and I'm trying to remember which of the two words that funds were identified as. But that was allowed to transfer to cover something to do with salary or
Yeah,
something.
Weston and Sampson.
Yes,
But something.
the $30,000 that we didn't know
Mhm.
about.
Yeah.
So it's that bucket we took that money out of needs to be replenished.
Correct.
But I'm trying to find my notes. $30,000 for $30,000 for the pump station came out of capital stabilization. All right. So if that came out of capital stabilization, it meant the leftovers came from the reserve fund. The reserve fund is used to cover overspending in the fiscal year. So the reserve fund is about 300,000 for unforeseen expenses.
Well,
Capital stabilization is what we use for the pump stations, 300,000 for the pump stations. So capital stabilization needs to be replenished.
we'll get to it.
We'll get there. Okay, so on your budget for, on Thursday, can we get an idea of the budget on it? You can put that on the agenda.
Right now, I've got a note out to Derek to see if he will attend that meeting for this particular purpose.
No, the budget is
I
Scott's.
understand what you're saying. I said I have a note out to Derek to see if he will attend for that specific purpose as
Oh.
well.
Can we have Scott talk to us about his budget?
Yes, we will have,
Okay.
Scott will be at the meeting.
Can we put budget on the agenda? I didn't hear you say budget. I
I
heard you.
did.
I didn't hear it.
Well, pay attention.
Budget discussion.
Budget discussion
There you go.
I didn't hear it, but thank you.
with hopefully Derek, right?
Right.
No,
Yes,
it's Scott's budget.
yes,
So with Derek
I
present,
want Derek to talk to
Yes.
us about the funding
get it.
sources.
yes.
Yes, we understand
Okay,
that.
Jeez. Next.
however, if
Okay.
Derek wants to say something about the weather, he's more than welcome to.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, yeah.
We don't wanna limit him in any way.
Exactly.
Kim,
Okay. Sewer bill insert, is it necessary? Is there any
I don't-
advantage to it?
So there's information that
Don't
needs
read
to,
it.
there's information that needs to go out that has been included in the past. So how to contact, if there's a billing dispute or whatever, how to contact, who to contact, and so on. But it's also an opportunity for us to communicate with the customers, things that we think they should know about. We've talked a little bit about some of the things that are happening here, an update on the new parts of the system, an update on.
Can I cut you off right
yes,
there?
please,
I'm sorry.
listen to what, you won't, yes, cut him off.
We had a meeting here with Mark Drainville from GHD
Okay.
about CWMP stuff, but he brought along a gentleman who is versed in just that. He's a public relations campaigner. He just recently worked with the town of Dennis, where I had lived previously, in outreach to the public setting up meetings, social media, town website, addressing concerns, educating people on what was going to be happening in the town of Dennis. They're starting a sewer system, building a plant. So, I mean, $250 million project, and he had to get the town on board, and ultimately it was a unanimous vote for it all to go through a town meeting. We had a little back and forth, a little history lesson about the town of Wareham and what we're looking at. And even though we don't have any ultra big ticket items like that, I mean, we do have the Narrows Force Main project coming up. But before we even get to that, it would be good to start bringing the public on board. Like you said, show them what's going on, educating them on every aspect of the sewer plant, you know, what we've dealt with over the past 50 years, what the next 50 years looks like, what we're gonna have to do to get there. And so he's going to make a proposal and get back to us on that. And I think if that all pans out, that would solve all the outreach.
So we would be hiring him as a
We
consultant?
would be hiring him, yes.
So he would write the little
He would do
newsletters
everything.
that would go in with the bills?
Yep.
So
Okay.
pending that, we don't do any insert this year, this billing cycle,
Why?
as opposed to giving them what we've been giving them.
Yeah, I don't want to give him what we've been giving him, but I think we can put a little
There's a
newsletter
couple things
together.
we should be able
It's
to throw
due
in.
mid-February, it's due now?
I don't know, but
Dollars.
it's only twice a year. You're reaching 4,000 households. Most people read the bill, pay it, and send it in. If they have a question, it's usually about an abatement. But anyway, they can call down here. I would just suggest holding off, because if this works out, and I think it will, then instead of reaching a dozen people, you're gonna be reaching as many people as possible who might be interested in what we do. I think it would be a huge deal. I mean, especially where he swung everyone in the town of Dennis to vote unanimously.
So his methodology would not be just the use of our sewer bills, they only go to 40%. He's got some,
Oh, he's opening it
macro
up.
plan for the
Yeah,
entire town.
working with
Right.
the TV station
Right.
to do
Okay.
interviews and,
I would think from,
right,
from what we've been just discussing here, the direction that we're gonna have to go in the future, you know, it'd be to our advantage to go along these roads, do the sewer bill, forget that, be the insert, and do more of an outreach overall to the town, not just the sewer users. Because the town is gonna become involved, whether they like it or not, in the future, to a much higher degree than they currently are. We're gonna have to sewer more areas, which means there's more people in the town are gonna be involved. There's gonna be more directions to go. There's gonna be expenses that come up that probably are not gonna be able to be handled by the sewer department on its own. And we're gonna have to look for additional sources of income. Now, some of them, obviously, there's gonna be grants and any, you know, federal monies that we can go after. But we don't know what that is, and that's always a, you know,
he was,
reach up there and pick it out of the air and see what you get.
he was also very well versed in sewer. I mean, as good almost as we are, and I think it'll work out well. I'm all for not doing every job, but trying to do every job that comes before us. I mean, this is on the job training, you got your degree today, congratulations. But let a professional handle that, let the engineers handle the engineering of the, all the work that needs to be done for the force main, but just delegate and let's bring it forward and let, you know, let there be outreach. I mean, if this works out, we'll be the most transparent, proactive section of the town of Wareham.
and we will have educated more people
Everyone, yeah,
than anybody else has in the town.
exactly.
So you're saying that nothing goes into this round of billing?
Yeah, I would hold off.
I would,
I think the return on investment for doing it, I mean, they have the phone number for here, they have the address, So, and they have the email, you know, if anyone wants to reach out, they already can.
On the back of the existing bill,
According to Anita Oliver, she gets phone calls when people have questions, so.
it says, it talks about an EDU system, it talks about questions about the bill, a telephone number to call, which is the town collectors, and the telephone number for this facility from 7:30 to 3:30. That's on the back of the bill today.
Yeah,
Then it has a section called user fee adjustment abatement. Now Jimmy suggested that we just have a telephone number and the website on the back of the bill. Or leave it the way it is, but without the blue insert.
yeah, because then you run up costs, and
Well,
I just think the return isn't worth it.
You're
I mean,
saying-
and I'd wait to hear back from this gentleman, and, you know, he'll be brought before the board for questions, but he's got a whole program that he runs, and, I mean, if people don't get educated through what he proposes, then they're not ever gonna be engaged, so.
yeah, part of this insert here talks about contacting us at sewercommissioners@wareham.gov. That fails every time. So even putting this out as it is without any modifications, we subject someone to failure on an email. So I would say, don't even put it in this time.
I agree.
I agree on that.
I do think, I'm of two minds about this. I think we're missing an opportunity for communication this round of billing. We only bill twice a year. But I understand the need to have a professional involved to make sure we're sending out the right message in the right way at the right time. So I'm of two minds about it. I wish this had happened a couple of months ago so that we could have something at this point.
Oh, well,
Wishing doesn't make it so.
yeah.
Why didn't you do this earlier?
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah,
Well, I did do it earlier, I did it today instead of 6 months from now, so
Yeah, my daughter's
I'm very early on
My
this
daughter's a
one.
public relations professional, and I understand the caution about how to send that message out.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, Scott, that I got two minds on it. Is I don't want to give up, first of all, I like the idea of delegating to professionals.
Mhm.
Our job is to figure out the financing and the public relations side for these projects.
Yeah.
Not to be this guy over here, Russ, to be an engineer, not to be a public relations
Mhm.
person. Let's do what we do best, right? And understand what we have to do in order to protect the town
Yeah.
of Wareham going forward. But I just hate to give up an opportunity of at least saying something, some informative information in a building statement, that's all.
Yeah,
You know, and that's,
Okay.
you know, but I agree, let's get a professional on it.
This has been discussed back in October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about, and then can't get it going forward.
this has been talked about since the very inception of the board.
This
Yes.
is, right? Oh, I mean, I can live without it, I just hate to give up the opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my mind, anytime you get to
It's not
educate-
permanent though, it's just one, right?
Yeah, just
yeah,
one
yeah.
It's
bill.
just one, we'll see how it
Don't
goes,
sit
and
here,
then,
don't sit here and 5 months down the road, a month before it's supposed to go out again,
Yeah,
and say blah, blah, blah.
we can't keep putting it, if we want to do it, we can't wait to the last minute.
Correct. But maybe this time we'll have the public relations guy doing it.
And especially
Yeah.
because we have so many things coming that are going to need public
that's right.
understanding,
Do you
so
have-
many things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any estimate on what the cost you think would be, so I know what bucket of cash we're gonna take it out of?
No,
So
no
we-
idea.
So we get it in the budget?
We're just gonna take it out of petty cash. There's a bucket in the other room you don't even know about.
What?
No, I'm just kidding,
I don't-
people at home. No, we don't know yet. He was gonna work up a proposal and
Alright.
get back to us, and then he'd appear before the board and explain the whole thing.
Do you have his phone number?
I do not.
Okay. But you know someone with a phone number.
I know someone with the phone number.
Wonder if we could get
I
kind
know
of a
someone on
rough,
the phone.
a rough estimate.
I imagine he'll probably be getting back to us in short order, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you just follow up to see if he is gonna show
Yeah.
us, or, I mean,
Yeah, we need a timeline and
Mm-hmm.
approximate cost.
no.
And the other question I would have is, if we're gonna hire a public relations professional, is that something that needs to go out to bid?
No,
So let me change my question. Should that be something that goes out to bid?
No. No, we discussed that, and it was clearly not something that had to, needed to go out to bid, so
Okay.
we're covered there.
okay, anything with the back of the bill different than what it is?
I would say, if I take, let me look at the full back of the bill before they take their bill.
Either way, it should be printed, so the information they need is not sent back with the check.
Yeah.
The back of the bill talks about EDU, questions about the bill, user fee adjustment and abatement, and only half, and then the grinder pumps are on the bottom.
Yeah,
But
get rid of that.
grinder
Get rid of
bumps
that.
get, no. When you take your bill in, it disappears.
The grinder pumps go back in with the receipt, with the.
Yeah, so here's what's left for your paperwork after you send your bill in.
Yeah, well, that's right, yep.
And this is what it is before you send the bill in. So this, what's left after the bill talks about a phone number for your bill or a sewer. And talks about an abatement. Doesn't have an doesn't have an email on it.
So all that being said,
I would say just leave it the way it is and just not do the insert until we
you
can
happy
get.
with that, Jimmy? No.
I mean, the only thing I would have done on the back of the bill is I would just put questions, question mark, and then put website and the phone number.
See, this is what
And
Jimmy
the
wanted on the back of the
advertising,
bill.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say Monday through Friday or 3:30,
It
doesn't have
goes-
time frame on it.
I'm not fussed.
Doesn't need,
Doesn't need it.
I'm not gonna, am I gonna call this access? Don't I need to know it's only Monday through Friday?
don't you know you're dealing with a town operation?
Doesn't say that
Monday
here.
through Thursday?
At least it's open on
No.
Friday,
It's Friday,
They're open here on Friday.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, Friday here, yes.
yeah.
So the back of the bill says this telephone number, 7:30 to 3:30.
Somebody make
So
a
it has
decision,
Monday
let's
through
move on.
Friday under it.
Doesn't,
Now, what are you gonna do this Monday? You're gonna
No.
call this Monday? You can't call this Monday, because
Jim.
now it's a holiday here.
Do we need to flip a coin in there?
I
so
would
we
say
can-
just leave the back of the bill the way it is.
Agreed, done.
Okay,
Done, see it, good night. Finalized.
okay, that takes care of that.
Thank you, Jim.
Leave it alone.
Until the PR person looks at it and has a
Yeah.
panic
exactly.
attack.
I mean, if they wanna change it, that's.
That'll be after the fact.
Can we print the bill on flushable material?
And waffles.
Yeah, waffles.
With a brick in it.
Yeah, a non-disposable.
I didn't know bricks were disposable.
If they
You know,
break
100
down and they're gonna
100
get
years
in the
of water, they
system.
do
and it's
break
gonna
down.
be-
The cement does, oh,
You
yeah.
want that, you want ones that don't.
Just look at distribution.
You're right.
boxes.
All right, unanticipated item, we have one here as a contract, and this is the contract for the camera truck.
This is the big one, right?
Yeah, we need this contract signed, to be able to buy the truck. And the amount is $245,218. The allocation that was authorized was $260,000, so we're approximately $15,000 under what was
Approved at town meeting.
town meeting on April,
It's all been approved, right?
yes.
When is delivery of this thing? When are they gonna,
They have to build it, don't they?
huh?
They have to
Yeah.
build it still.
But are they getting it, oh, to be determined. All right.
So do we need a motion to approve
Yes.
that? Move to approve the contract with
Chadwick?
Chadwick Barros. Customer number B, well, that's us. I'm looking for a PO number, but I don't see it.
No, I don't see one.
For the amount of,
For the amount of $245,218 and no cents.
second.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
And please,
Passed. That will be on the agenda for the next meeting
Who
to
got,
Certi-
confirm this.
who got signed that one as well?
Here.
She's
You
got
got
it
it?
right there. Okay, I have
Move to adjourn at 2:40 PM.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.